Hi everybody, happy April, and for this month I'm going to be featuring Puimond as the corset maker of the month. So right now I am modeling this PY09 Curvy Underbust. So here's the front, side, the back, and the other side. For the length and fit of this, the center front here is about 13 inches and so is the back. However, the back looks higher because it actually swoops down in the front and swoops up in the back. And I actually really like this because it really gives a nice profile shot. I don't feel any like pooch coming on here, and it's not really flipping away from my body. So it's holding in any lower tummy there. But at the same time, the high back here, it actually helps prevent muffin top from forming over the top here. It still gives me enough space for my wing bones though. So I find this to be very comfortable. This is my first underbust corset from Puimond, and this is actually also my first custom-made corset from him. This is actually the smallest corset that I'm able to close, or I guess close within about half an inch in the back. I find it to be quite comfortable, like I said before, cupped in the rib cage, cupped in the hips, so you might consider it an extreme hourglass corset. It doesn't have a conical rib cage like I consider a wasp waist corset to be. However, depending on your definition, some people might consider this bordering on wasp waist. Alrighty, I'm going to preface this by saying that I was not easy on this corset at all. Because it is my smallest one, I had to do some pretty intensive training to actually get down to pretty much close it in the back. Of course, I used the proper break-in period and everything, but after that I was really dedicated to getting this close. So I'm very impressed at how well this corset has held up considering the number of hours I've put into it already. This fashion fabric, the Chinese brocade, is very prone to things like fraying and wrinkling. However, it still looks really lovely and smooth, so I'm very impressed. But anyways, for the material of this, you can see laying flat, it's still quite curvy, but for the material of this, it's a silk Chinese brocade with pink cherry blossoms against a slate gray background, and I think this was so lovely I had to review it for April because this is about the time that the cherry blossoms are starting to bloom, so I thought it was fitting. I believe it is 3 layers in here. It feels rather light, but I believe it's 3 layers. The cherry blossom brocade is backed onto a strength fabric, and there are separate boning casings behind here for the boning to protect the bones from poking through the brocade or anything. And on the inside here is black herringbone coutil. For the construction of this, it has a 6-panel pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's very, very curvy, but you can see most of the curve of the hip is between panels 3 and 4, and a little bit on panel 5, which is really nice because then it gives a nice curve for the top of my bum there. And for the actual assembly of this, the panels are assembled with a top stitch, so double stitched, very strong, and then there were bone casings laid down underneath that to protect the brocade, like I had said before. The inside here, the coutil lining is actually floating. However, it's still very strong, and it fits fairly well. You can see just like a tiny bit of the curve over the hip there. But the thing that's nice is that the coutil is strong enough to hold you in, but there is no wrinkling over this top layer here because it is just drafted so artistically that it all remains very smooth. And if I hold it taut and look on the inside here, you can see the waist tape, and it is running from the first panel right to the very end of the last panel here, 1 inch wide, invisibly stitched inside, so it's underneath the lining there. The bias tape here is made from a pink satin ribbon that matches the cherry blossoms on the rest of the corset here. It is machine stitched on the outside and on the inside here. Because this is a ribbon and the edges are already finished, then it's just basically stitched down and left like that. It's not folded under or anything. And I find this to be fine. It's quite comfortable. It still looks very neat. And there are no garter tabs in this corset, but of course I didn't request any. Now there's no Modesty panel in this corset, no Modesty placket underneath the busk either, but if a Modesty panel is sort of a deal breaker for you, then I'm sure you would be able to email Puimond and see if he would be able to accommodate that for you. The busk in the front is 12 inches long with 6 pins. The pins are equidistantly set here in this particular one, so the bottom two aren't closer together, but I don't find this to be a problem. The busk is a little bit flexible, but is actually not that bad. I find this busk to be more stiff than some of my other flexible busks, so it's probably higher quality, or it has another bone behind it or something. And you can see in the profile shot, it barely bows out at all. Even though there is a little bit of a contour in the front there, I find that to be very flattering. And the bones here that are kind of angling down in the front in these adjacent two panels also help to hold in the tummy. For the bones of this corset, there are 18 steel bones, not including the busk, 9 on each side. There is one bone always on the seams between the panels, and for the wider panels, there are also bones in the center of the panel here. And I actually really like this method of boning. I've actually done this method in some of my own corsets because I just find that it distributes the pressure so much more evenly than just having just plain double bones on the seams and then having like a gigantic gap in the middle of the panel where there are no bones. So all these bones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these ones are, I believe, 1/4 inch wide spiral steel bones. And then on the back here, sandwiching the grommets, there are 1/4 inch wide, or actually they might be 3/8 of an inch wide, steel bones to keep this panel sturdy. Here's a close-up of the grommets. There are 26 2-part size 00 grommets, so 13 on each side. They have a medium flange around them. I find them to hold in very well. There's no damage around the silk or anything. There's no sign of pulling out or fraying or anything like that. They are equidistantly set apart. The two here at the waistline might be just a touch closer together, possibly just help with cinching here. And on the underside here, you can see that all the grommets have rolled really beautifully. Nice big washer to help support the back, the inside of this corset. Again, no sign of fraying. There's a fuzzy here, but that's just left over from when the hole was made. There are just a couple of little splits in this grommet, but they don't catch on the laces whatsoever, so I have no problem with them. They don't affect the strength. The laces themselves are even a little bit different to usual because I usually stick with just cotton or nylon flat laces, but these ones are actually like a little bit more like a braided cord. And these ones I'm actually kind of impressed with because these ones, of course, they're long enough, they're strong, they're virtually impossible to break. They have no stretch to them, and they hold the bow really nicely and securely. Like it's not always slipping out or anything. So I really like these laces, and Puimond did a great job of matching it with the rest of the pink contrast here with the flowers and the binding. The price for this corset starts at $410 for regular fashion fabric, with markup to about $550 if you want something special like leather. And that's all for the Puimond Curvy Underbust PY09 corset. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, please click the like button over there. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!